I mean, what game plan can they have? They took everything that was powerful. They have to have gotten everything they never dreamed to get, even in scrims. Now we're going to have to see what they can do with all that raw power. If the ingenuity of Unicorns of Love is going to be enough here.
And it's such a classic Unicorn strategy. Let's give them Rengar, and then we have Iron Lulu as our response to it. Obviously, Lulu also because of the Malzahar.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the quintessential
You have
moment.
to love it. You'd have to love it.
You have
honestly.
to love it. I mean,
Just
there's
love
plenty.
it.
The Love Hurts crew is here. Happy to support the Unicorns of Love. Personally, I'm really excited to see how the Lulu Ivern interacts, but also Rengar is really hype in his own way.
Oh, for sure.
Even if not incredibly fun to play against, always hype to watch him dominate. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get into our first game. Unicorns of Love versus Vitality. The first time you've seen these new rosters, the first time you've seen these new lineups, and they're headed on to the Rift.
Rengar so far, 4-0 in the LCK. It's done really, really well. Not really too surprising.
No, not at all. Done very well in solo queue as well when he somehow makes it through the bans.
Definitely.
But let's talk early game. What are the goals here for Unicorns of Love? Because it feels to me if that Rengar gets any kills at all, he's going to be nigh impossible to deal with.
I mean, for Unicorns of Love, the strong lane to look at is the bot lane. It's the Kate Lulu, Lulu's specific counter pick against Malzahar, as we highlighted in the ban phase, because your passive from Lulu one-shots the Voidling from Malzahar. So it's a pushing lane that can win the trades. Mid lane, Kassadin as always, he wants to get his level 6, so you're not really going to play too much around that lane. Top lane with Poppy, same deal. One thing you can do though with Ivern is you can actually set up the Kassadin even pre-6 to get to his target when you do gank. But it is very risky because Ivern's pre-level 6 skirmish is obviously not fantastic. You don't really offer a whole lot of damage. So I think Unicorns are going to be happy playing aggressive on bottom side and then just wait for Exile to farm up and then put him in the side lane later to have this 1-3-1.
Ward is going to get taken out here. Vitality already making some moves on the bottom side. You saw Vision going down onto the jungle clear from Cersei. Not going to quite get it. Unfortunately, was not able to one-shot the Voidling before it got to spawn a few more. Felisang doing his best to clear those out. Will pick up a little bit of extra gold. And Hachani learning very quickly why the Lulu was picked into this matchup.
I'm sure Hachani knows. He's obviously a very smart player who's been around for many, many years. Come over from LCK, where not only was he a player on KT, who made it all the way to the final here in 2016, also used to be a coach just before for Rebels Anarchy. So Hachani's definitely tried a lot of different things, and it's one of the things Vitality highlight about him, like his game knowledge is fantastic, his communication in game, and he had a very good summer split if we look back to 2016 as well, so not exactly a weak player we're dealing with here.
Absolutely not. Of course, one of the first guys to really bring out the Taric into competitive play after the rework. Beautiful use of the ultimate time and time again. And officially, I want to talk a little bit about the mid lane match. Of course, Exile's going to wait for level 6. He wants to be that big split pushing threat, but what are we expecting from this Taliyah? Because we have not seen these two champions match up each other yet.
No, I mean, Taliyah obviously will get the early shove because Kassadin doesn't really have a way to push it back, and very easy for Taliyah to push it in, and you want to see if you can deny some CS. But there is no kill pressure for Nukedog right now against Exile with Potion, Dark Steel to make the potions even stronger. Exile is okay falling behind and just wants level 6, and then it can become difficult for Taliyah because Kassadin can just jump her, and as long as you maneuver instantly, like move to the side as soon as you jump her, it's very easy to dodge around the knockback as well from Nukedog. So Nukedog is in a good spot at the moment, but later on it becomes a lot harder.
Making some aggressive trades here, trying to maintain control of the mid lane, and has a sizable CS advantage as well. But once again, not going to mean much unless he can keep that lead and continue to grow it. Top lane continues to be a tank fight. Ivern continues to farm up, but really it's Rengar we have to keep our eyes on.
Top lane, Dracos. This is where you're going to see the insane Ivern Poppy damage.
Zachachi setting up for the knockback. There goes the trigger seed. Cabo starting to move it out, saving the hook, waiting till he can hook under the tower. Cabo knocked back, decent damage coming in. Are they going to be able to grab it? First blood down to the Ivern.
Almost too easy. Cabo shot pushing up. Guys, look down here at his items. The ward is ready from his trinket, but he didn't place it yet. So Ivern just walked in freely and managed to pick up first blood.
Just a slow and steady kill. It has to be frustrating to start off your top lane like that. Nautilus should still be able to push a decent amount, but has to be careful. Cabo is already back in the top lane. Unicorns of Love, solid debut from their new jungler, picking up the Dark Seal as well. Almost insult to injury.
I actually like that a lot because I think you can go Soul Stealer later on Ivern. Because most of the time you are not like sitting in the front line with the champion. It's obviously Daisy sitting in the front line for you. So you can actually stay pretty safe in most fights and then you start stacking that extra AP from Soul Stealer. So I like that pickup. But man, Kappa shot. Basic mistake. Like you are way past level 3 and level 4 for junglers and you haven't placed your ward. Obviously, you're gonna get ganked then and punished when you're pushing and pushing and pushing.
Well, they have now responded to it. Vitality placing a ton of vision on the top side of the map, and it could be Exile who's caught out next. Joko looking for that opportunity in the mid lane to gank, but Vitality updating as they go. They are now putting vision on the top side.
And there's gonna be another opening now. We talked about Nuke before, but let's see the action-packed gank. Puts in trigger seed.
Look at the damage.
He has the red buff though, that is the important thing. But honestly, this just comes down to overextended top laner with no vision. We've seen it in solo queue. We even see it in professional play.
Yeah, this is one of the big strengths, of course, of Ivern, is he can clear relatively quickly with smite charges up. So you saw a level 4 Ivern against a level 3 Nautilus on the top side.
Ivern has one of the fastest clears to level 4 if he just stays in his own jungle and doesn't actually go for any shenanigans and wants to be really annoying level 1, level 2. And if he just fully clears his own jungle and then ganks, it can surprise some people. But as we talked about with Nuke before here, there's going to be that window where Exile is not feeling strong enough to go side lane, where Nuke does have his ulti. And that's where Vitality can use him to push in mid and then send him to the bottom side or the top side, depending on where they want to try and set up a dive. But there is teleport for Unicorns of Love in the mid lane.
Samix taking a ton of damage. No Lulu there to kill the Voidlings. The captive audience not going to quite connect, or Deadly Flourish rather. Not going to connect, so no real concern there for death, but Samix definitely has to respect that Malzahar, because it's not just Nuke who has that power in the mid game, it's also the Malzahar, the point and click. We saw the power in the last series. Definitely something you have to be aware of here.
Yeah, basically, I feel like Vitality just kind of on the clock here, because once we get QSS, once we get a farmed up Kassadin, Vitality going to run out of options when it comes to both play the map and also create picks against the Unicorns of Love composition. But there is this window before we get the item completed, before Exile is strong enough, where Vitality can try and use Rengar ulti combined with something like Malzahar ulti, and then get a kill, get a tower down, get a gold lead. Jhin, as you can see on your screen here, guys, wasn't the most successful pick for Steelback. That being said, he was on a team who lost a lot of games, and I actually think Steelback individually played really well last play.
Exactly, and really the worst stat you can show if you want to highlight how good Steelback is his win ratio. Yeah. He was the best player on his team without a doubt, and he was very consistent in having an impact. But no matter how much impact you have, you can't always hard carry a game. So may have had the 2-9 win-loss ratio, but definitely put up some good numbers despite that in each of those matches.
Yeah, it was very interesting with his stats from last split. He had like one of the highest kill shares of any player in the UOL. His numbers were actually good, like he died very, very little because he just tried to stay as safe as possible in fights, but he still dealt a very large portion of the damage from Rocket. So he tried his hardest, didn't work, and now he's on a different team, and Joko's top lane.
Chachi in trouble. Joko looking for the gank. Cannot jump in, though. Poppy denying the entry, sends him right back home with the hammer.
The early rotation Poppy working here for Visit Chachi. I feel like they just actually picked it so early because they wanted to see more picks from Vitality they could counter.
Well, like, additionally, it interacts pretty well with the Rengar, stops the leap in, stops a lot of the aggressive options coming in here.
And a lot of what they have on the Unicorn side with Ivern, Lulu, Poppy is a lot of disengage. Kassadin is the target, or the player really sitting in that backline trying to assassinate people. But it's gonna be hard to kill Samax as well. Like, this man is being set up to carry in this game.
And it's interesting, Unicorns of Love putting so much pressure on their new players. New jungler, you give them Ivern, something unconventional, something different. You got a new AD carry, you give them Caitlyn and say, we'll give you the reins. We'll get you to 35 minutes, you just got to bring us the game.
We'll give you the protection. It's on you now to just sit there, auto-tag as much as possible. We're waiting for Chani level 6. I think that's kind of the go bottom for Vitality at the moment. The first gank from Joko failed, but his ult is going to be back up by the time Chani hits 6. Problem is, again, the double teleport. Notice how Exile has not used TP back to lane after the very first one, because he knows he needs to save it for when Nuke is roaming. And that's obviously very smart, because it makes it harder for Vitality to create a dive. It's very risky then. And it just buys time for Unicorns of Love to scale, as we talked about. Get to your QSS, get to this point where Kassadin can carry. Well, and then Vitality will struggle.
You said we were waiting for Hachani level 6, and we were also waiting for Nuke in the mid game to use that Weaver's Wall, to use the roam potential that Taliyah brings to the table to find an advantage here. Nuke Duck's level 8. He's got some items under his belt. Got that also crucial last chapter, but hasn't roamed quite yet. What is the break point here? When can he afford to leave this lane?
Well, again, Hachani level 6, so you can actually almost guarantee a kill, and it might have to be on Lulu, just so you prevent her from not only using Pixie, or Whimsy, sorry, onto the Malzahar, but also obviously using it to pop all the shields and protection onto Samax if he's the target. But if you have Nuke Duck there instantly, it's obviously a faster reaction than TPing in, because it's much longer challenge time for TP. You can burst down a target. Hachani has hit 6 now. Joko has ulti and instantly vitality. Playing around bottom side, setting up a lot of vision, trying to create that path Nuke Duck can roam as well, down the river with a lot of control wards.
Yeah, they might know about 2 in the bush, but they do not know about Hachani.
I think, sadly though, for vitality, the fact that Hachani hasn't returned to lane is something Unicorns have already communicated and saying there's a high chance he's here.
Flashes up. They may check the brush. That's a lot of damage, but he's just going to pull back. Joko immune to CC and backing off.
And that's where you see the good communication. Hylissang was with the team. They send in Ivern first. He pops his shield. They're saying, okay, you can't kill this guy. Like, we know there's a chance you're here. We're just going to check. And Unicorns make sure Vitality can't really do anything with the roam. Yeah. That sound, by the way.
Nothing worse than dying to an Ivern.
No, it's actually
slow,
true.
It's steady, and it's full of funny noises. Hylissang. Proving our point, thank you. Just get it in there, just to let people know that it does, in fact, one-shot the Void Lane.
Good ult. But again, we see that setup. This is exactly what we talk about. Joko in the bot lane with ulti. Hachani level 6, he can flash in and use it.
This is such patient play, though. Samix had overextended a little bit earlier, taking a lot more damage from Hachani than he wanted to, but now playing much more patiently.
Nuke Dog is moving as well, Dracos.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. Keep your eye for the Weaver's wall. Out comes the Rengar ultimate. 2 shots going to connect. Samix going to tank all 4, as it looks like. Dodges the 4th. Misses out on that all too crucial crit. But Vitality, they're looking for these setups, and they cannot find them.
I think it's just a lot of credit to Unicorns of Love here, playing like super smart. They're not playing over aggressive in the bottom lane. They're respecting the roam before towards mid from Hachani. And it's Unicorns just not giving any openings to Vitality.
I mean, we look at it, they grouped up when they knew that there were members around the mid lane. They said, if you're going to come for us, we're going to fight you in the full team fight. We know once your combos are done, we can take you. Then Vitality backs off, they clear out the vision. It's very slow, very systematic play, honestly, from the Unicorns.
And it's really the change I feel like we saw in the summer split from Unicorns of Love, where they stopped just being this goofy, crazy, aggressive team who always wanted to just try some insane team fights. And they started playing much smarter. I don't think it's still like at a perfect level, but I don't think it's perfect for any team in Europe. And we're seeing like they continue the trend from the summer split. Great understanding of how to use their composition here in the early game, what not to do especially, which is to force a ton of fights when Hachani has 6 and Nuke Dog is roaming and so on. Just a smart play so far.
Good exchanges back and forth. Samix potentially in trouble here. Decent damage going down, but once again, Voidling's pretty easy to deal with overall. Hylissang happy to have the extra gold. And right now it looks so even. We're about 13 minutes in, the gold only about a 700 difference as Exile picks up that blue buff. But we have to remember the scaling is just so in favor of the Unicorns of Love.
And it's frustrating if you're Vitality. You drafted this composition with the Talia in the mid lane, with Malza ulti in the bot lane. Like, you feel like that's a very easy go button. You can just go bot lane, ulti someone, and kill them. But it just gets countered by double TP and by Lulu down there in the bottom lane, and it's frustrating.
And by, honestly, insane patience, Unicorns of Love willing to forfeit waves of creeps, willing to forfeit vision advantage at any turn just to ensure that they don't give up anything at all in the early game in terms of kills. They know they can miss a wave of creeps, but they can't afford to start giving up those kills.
Yeah, because it's once the towers start falling, it gets really hard to sit in skeletal late game. If the enemy gets down all outer turrets, they get so much access to your jungle. They control the river suddenly. You can't stop dragons from falling. So just keeping the turrets alive is all Unicorns care about at the moment, and it is working out. I want to see with Exile what build he's going for, because in solo queue I've seen a little bit of Gunblade casted in, like Rod of Ages Gunblade. And it is when you jump in, you get a little bit of extra burst damage with the Gunblade active.
This is how far we've broken you this season, is that you never expected to see Rengar giving up, and now you're seeing a cast, and now you're like, sure, Gunblade, anything's possible. Let's do it. They built it once.
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is a chance. Hachani setting up another trap, but this time he is spotted.
Yeah, Vitality rinsing and repeating the same map movements that they've used in the past.
Oh,
Hylissang not respecting the potential for engage. Flash in, too much damage. Hilly gets popped, all too easy for Vitality.
They were on a ward, and he's the man who can't get caught out because he's the man needing to save the other guys. Why on earth would Hylissang think he should run down to the river?
Not entirely sure.
He saw them on that ward near the mid lane. This is exactly what Vitality needed. They got a pick, and now they're trying to get some tower damage.
Daisy comes out. Joko taking decent damage so far. Trigger Seed goes out. Daisy's nigh impossible to escape from at this point, but Weaver's Wall comes in. Is instantly canceled. Chachi on the backside disengages the fight. Using the smite to pop the Daisy. Chachi goes back. Hachani gets taken down. Unicorns of Love control the momentum of the fight now, but Nukeduck is waiting. Looking for an opportunity to turn this back. The wave is pushing in.
He's trying to do something, but again, Unicorn's not overextending. Yeah, and I guess it was all one big bait from Hylissang. I'm dead, guys. Please push my bot tower. And then, boom! Double TP. That is what I call strategy.
Surprise! Got him every time. Unicorns of Love now looking to pick up that Ocean Drake. It's not quite as early in the game as you'd normally like to see it, but still a reasonably powerful buff. Gold remains still close to even. The Ocean Drake will be the only really big boon for the side of the Unicorns of Love.
Dracos, let me ask you.
Yes.
Are you tired of the Drakes now? Because I feel like
it's not as spicy as it once was.
It's not as spicy. Yeah, it's not really worth talking too much about the specific Drakes either, which is a bit of a shame because there's actually a lot of stuff to talk about with them. But this was the big bait here from Hylissang that led into a double TP combo from the Unicorns of Love. Now this does give Vitality actually some time to try and set up a Taliyah play with Malzahar ulti, with Rengar ulti, because there's no TP. Using double TP for one kill is not worth it. Obviously, they did it to stop the tower push as well, but blowing 2 very long cooldowns for just the kill opens up some chances for Vitality now.
And we have to remember so far that it has been cautious play from the Unicorns of Love that's kept them in this game. Now, they've used their get-out-of-jail-free cards, those teleports, to make sure that no play can go against them. And now, here is the real opportunity for Vitality to find a weakness, to kind of expose the early game of this Unicorns of Love composition as we very quickly approach the mid-game.
Definitely so. Nukeduck will have his ulti in just a few seconds. Hachani does have his, but no flash just yet. Do like choice of boots though. Go early CDR in there to get that cooldown reduction on your flash as well, because Malzahar really outside of laning phase. It's a lot of just flash ulting someone and your team then kills that guy. That's why you need those boots.
Yeah, Exile moving forward, but it's good you pointed out Malzahar feels a lot like Annie did back in the day of her lane bullying.
Just a little bit easier almost.
Just a little bit easier because you can point and click. There's nothing they can do to dodge it.
It's great we still have champions in the game for people who feel like they can't be bothered using their mechanics just once in a while.
Well, Samix is going to need his mechanics because Joko's on the way in, but they're going to ignore him and go for the tower instead. Not looking for the aggression. Here comes Ivor, and Joko locked up. He's going to go down. Whoopsie! Baited in, taken out. Unicorns of Love holding on to this bot lane tower. And you said it, it's the towers that start to snowball the game. And Unicorns of Love, sliver of health left, but they still managed to hold it.
Yeah, but it was technically the correct call for Vitality. We talked about no TP, so get that bot tower. But man, do not step on the trap.
Redemption going in. Hachani going to lock up Hylissang, but a lot of healing coming out. Trigger Seed as well, going to slow up those Voidlings. Not going to be able to keep the pressure on, but Nukeduck ready with the wall. Has to respect. Nope, flash out there. Not going to find the opportunity to knock Cersei back in.
Yeah, now Exile got to push out mid, so he can also roam because Nukeduck is already in the bottom lane defending turret. Unicorns of Love, suddenly the team that was supposed to lose some of these early towers because of the massive misplay from Joko. Give them first tower as well. They're getting everything.
And so quick to punish. Vitality feel lost here. They came down to the bottom lane, but they have no cooldowns to start a fight, no tools with which to catch the Unicorns of Love off guard. And we're going to take our, once every 3 minutes view at the top lane, just to see that they're still not killing each other.
Top lane tanks against each other is the trap for every observer. Because they see action, they feel like, oh, we got to show the action. But it's actually never really action, is it? Just two guys standing up there, kind of slapping each other in the face a little bit. And it always distracts us as casters. Because we think something is going on, we stop saying our point, and we go like, oh, okay, never mind. It's just tanks,
I think we've learned slowly but surely. But definitely I remember my first few casts with you. I was like, top lane, Nautilus. Oh, yeah, it's Nautilus. Sorry, we're good. We're good.
And it's a shame when you just have that perfect point that's like gonna impress everyone, and then you miss it just because
Oh yeah, sure.
of the top lane tanks.
I'm sorry, we interrupted
I'm just saying.
your perfect point.
I'm just saying, man. That's why I haven't dropped any at all, because I get interrupted.
Interrupted now by Exile. Picking up the donated blue buff, one of the mini perks of the Ivern kit. All of them sort of odd and not quite easy to understand. But Hachani now moving forward. Silence goes in. Joko does not, however. As Chachi is just free to back off. Vitality still making moves to get aggressive. Now looking to control the top side as Steelbacks has made his presence known.
And I think that's something we really have to highlight with this early pick Poppy, because Unicorns knew Rengar was going to be first pick. It's another way of also stopping Joko from reaching the backline. Not only can you knock him away with your ulti, your W obviously stops his engage, his jump in. Same for Nautilus hook, stops that one as well. So Chachi can just sit, you know, near his AD carry, and no one can actually jump that AD carry. So very, very smart, honestly, and surprising at first with the Poppy, but now when we think more and more about it, it actually makes a ton of sense.
And now the momentum has shifted very clearly in favor of the Unicorns Love. It's 20 minutes, they're up 2K, the Ocean Drake. Now it's going to be 2 towers as well. Vitality, they're going to try to get something back on the bottom side. Nuke Duck and Joko spending some time in the mid lane as well, but nothing seems to be going their way. Just a small consolation prize here.
Yeah, Unicorns haven't even needed to really change anything in their setup on the map. It's just move the AD carry and support to whatever lane you want to kill a tower, and it's a very standard change for them. There's really nothing special. They've been defending really well. Vitality have been behind before. I think it's safe to say, especially the last split.
A very different lineup, but still Vitality with a bit of a pedigree for coming back. Come back for much bigger than about 2K gold that they face now. Could potentially be an option for them.
I also feel like they're against a slightly better team now than what Vitality versus Rocket was last split. Unicorns of Love looking strong. One of the teams a lot of people predicted to be a contender for, should we say, top 3, top 4 for sure. Like at least to get into playoffs. That's a guarantee.
And it's interesting how our expectations of Unicorns of Love have evolved over time. Because for a long time it was, this is a team that's never going to make it to playoffs. And they always made it to playoffs. And now it's the team that we're surprised if they don't make it to playoffs. They have made such strides in summer and have proven themselves as a team and an organization that can bring up new talent.
Yeah, because it used to be just Chachi and Hylissang that was like the core on Unicorns of Love, and they would change like all the other members from split to split. But then now they've added Exile to that very, very strong core of Chachi and Hylissang already. So it's 3 members they're keeping, actually 3 very good players, proven players, who have shown they're good enough to play for these top positions. So I like the fact they can actually just slot in upgrades from here on out. Samox, obviously we can't call him a straight upgrade over Veritas, but Veritas was not a key member on Unicorns. And it's definitely been a jungle upgrade for sure.
Oh, Samox caught out, locked up. There's a lot of damage going down, but the Lulu's keeping him alive. He's gonna live, he flashes out. Samox unkillable as they pick up the Rengar. Vitality walk away empty-handed. They're losing members left and right, and this is absolute disaster. Romain in the back cheering for the team. You can see a double kill for the Kassadin, and they come away with everything they want.
Yeah, I know we don't like to say a game is over before the Nexus is actually dead, but with the composition Unicorns have drafted, with how well they played defensively in the start, then this game should be over already.
And every cooldown burned to kill Samox, burned to kill the new blood on the team, and it failed. He makes it out. The supports of the team come together to keep him alive, and there's nothing left when you blow those ults.
We have Trigger Seed from Ivern, we have Locket from Ivern, we have Shield from Lulu, Ulti from Lulu, everything on Samox here, and there's nothing Vitality can do here. They just cannot one-shot anyone on this Unicorns lineup, and then it will always lose the follow-up. Exile able to chase on the Kassadin. Rest of the team desperately trying to join, but he doesn't even need them.
And we look at the follow-up, it's Poppy damage, it's Kassadin damage. These champions who are so difficult to escape, so when Vitality commit like that, there's no hope of them getting out. It's kill or be killed. And my God, Exile. I mean, that is a ton of damage already at this stage in the game.
It's such a smart pick and ban phase from Unicorns of Love. It's specifically designed to counter the Rengar first pick. And later on, even also the Malzahar, which was just even better for Unicorns when they saw that pick come in with the Lulus here. So, just have to say, really, really fun draft to watch. Well planned. And it certainly means now next time Vitality plays Unicorns of Love on blue side and Rengar is open, if you haven't banned away some of the picks that Unicorns are using to deny what you're trying to do, then it might be difficult suddenly picking it.
May have to use those bans on the Lulu. May have to use those bans on the Poppy next time around if they want to keep this going. But Rengar, Joko stepping a little bit too far forward as Chachi's going to take some of those shields to block the damage and take down the tower.
Yeah, I think a change we can see if Vitality wants to do the same is just don't pick the Malzahar with the Rengar. You're putting too much into that single target pick potential. Just take the Zyra instead, you know. Get an even stronger bottom lane that can try and just dominate the lane and play AoE team fights, because then suddenly Lulu doesn't have a lot of value against big AoE mages. She's very good against single target, but she's very bad against area of effect damage.
In goes Daisy. Chachi there as well, breaking down the turrets slowly but surely. Exile over the wall. Joko in trouble, but Hachani's going to lock him down. Decent amount of damage coming in. Redemption going to heal up the side of Unicorns of Love, and the inhibitor is left open and exposed. But Rengar, he's looking for an opportunity. He's looking for a way in. Exile locked up. The silence comes out. Kassadin's in trouble. Unicorns of Love still holding firm, still backing off. Joko still has a little bit of time. Dodges the trap. Out comes the curtain call. But who is it going to connect with? Rengar can find a way in. Unicorns of Love walk away unscathed once again.
Didn't get the inhib, sadly, for the Unicorns of Love, but they still have plenty of time because they have all the time in the world. They don't care. There's no timer here for the Unicorns of Love. Obviously, in this game here, they had side selection. We got to remember, each team gets to pick their side here. It's not just randomly Unicorns are forced to be blue in game one. No, they can actually decide themselves, and they went for red side in game one, specifically to leave the Rengar open and have this draft. So Vitality in the next game gets to select sides. And I think if you're Vitality, against what you just saw, you actually want to take red side yourself and just say, you know what, we don't need to have any
you ban whatever you want,
and we have last picks
we're gonna counterpick you.
We take the last picks instead.
We would like to know what you're playing before we pick what we're playing.
Exactly. Yes. So that should definitely be something from Vitality's side. Unless they're changing up the bans completely, which also is an option.
Well, in the meantime, Baron buff still ticking, about to fall off. Daisy coming in, and Chachi more than happy to tank up the Voidlings on the front line. Daisy doing a decent job as well. Unicorns of Love, it's a slow siege. Joko still trying to find a way in, but it's just so hopeless for this Rengar. No clear path. Nukeduck gets a good engage, though. Hylissang is in trouble. He's going to get popped. That's a lot of damage, but it's not enough. Hylissang goes down in the end. Cabo, though, trades his life for it. Joko's down as well. Out comes the ace in the hole. Nukeduck goes down. Double kill for Exile. Unicorns of Love taking a fight once again. Chachi's not even done yet. He goes in, he says, steal back. I saw you had least deaths last season. Let's mix it up.
The original puppy god in the top lane is VIT Chachi. He played it before it was cool, before it was reworked. He's also playing it now, obviously, and it's been very, very good.
Very strong, and Hachani, unfortunately, is not. Not enough to 1v4 his way to victory. Game one, gonna go over to the Unicorns of Love. We didn't expect it. New picks, picks we hadn't seen, power picks on the side of Vitality, but it is not enough to stop the Unicorns of Love.
Great pick and ban phase, smart strategy that completely countered everything Vitality brought to the table. They had their plan. Let's get Rengar, let's get Malzahar, let's hit level 6 on that Malzahar, and then just go to the bottom lane, get an easy kill, take that tower, start snowballing the game. But completely counterpicked by Unicorns from honestly every single lane. Like Ivern with the protection he brings to prevent the AD carry from dying, Poppy to stop the jump coming in from a Rengar, Lulu against the Malzahar and the Rengar at the same time. 2 for 1 right there.
Well, and you got to think the traps even played a pretty big part of it. Just trapping the Rengar out, always knowing when the Rengar was going to come down, the pseudo vision, the pseudo safety you have by just placing those traps in a line. It feels like Unicorns of Love knew exactly what to expect here and were ready at every single turn.
That's one of the good things if you leave any of these traditional OPs open, because a lot of teams, they feel forced to pick it. At first we were like, oh, okay, Camille and Rengar both open. When there was the last ban for Unicorns, we were like, surely they're going to leave both open and trade, because that's another thing you can do. But no. Bandit Camille were like, ooh, let's see what the plan is, and it was great.
Let's see what the plan is over at the Analyst desk, because the Unicorns of Love have thrown the first punch here in this best of 3 over Vitality. Let's see what Shox has to say about it.
Thank you very much, Drake. That's indeed gonna break it down here. And of course, we have Vedius, who likes looking at the mid lane and knows a lot about it, and our pro player in the mid lane, Power of Evil. And we talked a lot about the picks and bans in general. The casters already pointed out how the Unicorns of Love crafted a perfect comp against the Rengar specifically. What do you think is the... is that a very risky thing to do? Do they have enough tools? Is it still a risk to let Rengar run free?
I don't think they had like a perfect team composition against Rengar. I think Rengar is just like too strong in general as a pick. So you should have gotten like way more early game kills on side lanes. You should have tried to snowball bot lane with the Mauser Flash ultimate. We saw it once in River. I think they should have done it way more often, combined with the Talia roams. And I think they would have just snowballed insanely. Well, they could have snowballed a lot on bot lane, but they just didn't do.
I have to praise the Unicorns of Love for once again innovating the draft, because I think this is something that we haven't seen from any other teams so far. They've been prioritizing picking a lot of power picks from a lot of other teams, making sure that we get things like the Maokai up in the top lane, like the Syndra in the mid. But the Unicorns have said, you know what? We're going to expect you to pick the Rengar, and we have a plan in place. And they executed it so well, and it was a joy to watch.
They did, and...
I think the Cassidy was a smart pick in general, because he was playing against an AP top and an AP mid, and Talia at 2 items. Talia can't do anything against Cassidy anymore on side lane. So you have already just winning condition, and since mostly like split push champions in mid lane face tanks a lot of times, or like you send a tank against the split pusher, and he's AP as well, so Cassidy just beats both. And at 2 items, they just win the game automatically.
And as we were looking at that lane, even before that 2-item spike, you were pointing out how it is quite hard to crush a lane as Talia, and you really have to actually roam and take advantage of that, and you didn't really see that.
Well, I think this was like one of the only points in the game where we saw the Rengar roam. Here's an example. I don't think Talia should stay mid lane and hit the turret or push the next lane. I think it's really greedy. He should already start moving bot side, look for the roam, look for the ultimate, because now he needs to use his ultimate to actually come bot lane, but now it's already like kind of too late, since he needs to ult in, he can't split the fight, he can't like do a lot of stuff, and I think even before, he's already 11.